South Africa mourns liberation giant Mosiwa Lekota. Shibiri admits texting Kat Matlala, but says it was social. And Madlanga blast Mogotsi's, quote, useless sick note. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
South Africans are trapped in the Middle East. DIRCO is scrambling for names and contact details as the war intensifies. And it could get a whole lot messier. Iranian Kurdish opposition forces are expected to join a ground operation in western Iran within days. Kurdish groups are in talks with the United States about possible military cooperation. Iran is also choosing a new supreme leader after the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. His son Mojtaba Khamenei is seen as a frontrunner. An Iranian naval ship carrying 180 crew members has sunk off Sri Lanka. The cause is unknown. And the EU says it is ready to respond after Donald Trump threatened to cut trade with Spain for refusing US access to its bases.
What is happening in the Middle East is calamitous. It is the most dangerous development that could go way beyond the Middle East as well, because it now engulfs many more countries than just the 2 countries or 3 countries. So it's very concerning. And I had occasion to speak to some of the heads of state in that area and pass on our commiserations to them and hope that their own people will be safe, but also to ask them to safeguard the people from our own country.
Former senior prosecutor Michael Mashuga has accused forensic investigator Paul O'Sullivan of interfering in IPID operations. He told Parliament's ad hoc committee on corruption in the criminal justice system that the police watchdog was infiltrated and influenced. Mashuga says O'Sullivan, who was arrested for impersonating an IPID officer, interfered in a case against him that was later struck off the roll and never reinstated.
I place evidence before this honorable committee that the IPID investigation at that stage was not independent because it was infiltrated by and led by Mr. O'Sullivan and Sarah Jane Trent.
Mashuga says after he moved to prosecute O'Sullivan under the IPID Act, allegations of state capture were levelled against him. Suspended SAP's head of organised crime, Major General Richard Shibiri, admits he exchanged text messages with alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. He says it was social. Shibiri is testifying before the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria. Previous witnesses have accused him of being in the pockets of cartel figures and of receiving 80,000 rand in cash from Matlala. Shibiri says the messages were sent from his personal phone, not his SAP's issued device.
Unless otherwise indicated, such communications were informal, social, or work-related within ordinary professional engagement and did not involve the disclosure of classified information, operational strategy, or confidential investigative material.
The Madlanga Commission has torn into the medical certificate filed by alleged political fixer Brian Mogotsi, calling it, quote, useless. Mogotsi made a brief appearance this morning to explain his no-show on Monday, but before he could speak, Chairperson Buyiseli Madlanga delivered a sharp warning about what he called a bothersome trend of witnesses suddenly falling ill before testifying. He said the Commission can summon the doctors who write these notes and refer them to medical boards.
Coming back from Cape Town, since Friday, I was not okay. Like you say, confidentiality of the illness, but mine, I just had a lot of pressure, more like a diarrhea. I was so sick. I'm still not well.
We are not going to sit here and continue receiving useless medical certificates like the last one was and like yours appears to be.
The TRC Cases Inquiry, led by retired Justice Sisi Kampempe, has heard claims of a secret plan to stop apartheid-era prosecutions. Former NPA Director Anton Ackerman says in 2003 he was told he was wasting his time pursuing TRC-linked cases. He testified that senior figures, including former presidents F.W. de Klerk and Thabo Mbeki, allegedly discussed a political solution to avoid further prosecutions. Ackerman says a draft amnesty bill would have allowed the president to grant indemnity to perpetrators who were denied TRC amnesty. He also claims he was warned that prosecuting former security branch members could trigger private prosecutions against ANC figures. The Commission is investigating whether there was an organised attempt to hold cases outside the TRC process. The ANC caucus in the Western Cape Legislature says Premier Alan Winde breached the Code of Conduct. A Conduct Committee report found he failed to declare sponsored travel to the United States in the official register of members' interests. That is a mandatory disclosure. The ANC says this wasn't political theatre, it was a compliance failure.
This is particularly concerning when it involves the Premier, the first citizen of our province, who is expected to be the custodian of integrity and ethical governance.
Premier Winde's spokesperson Regan Thor says the Premier disputes the finding and he plans to appeal. Now in Johannesburg, the city has ordered inspections at every construction site. This follows a building collapse that killed 9 people. Non-compliant developers will be blacklisted and charged. City Manager Floyd Brink says audits will begin immediately. So the Proteas' wait for a World Cup continues after they lost to New Zealand in the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. The loss against the Black Caps came as a surprise as South Africa were favourites to win the game, having won 7 games from 7. Who New Zealand will face in the final will be revealed on Thursday when co-hosts India clash with England in the second semi-final. Tributes have been pouring in for former COPE leader Mosiwa Lekota. He died at the age of 77 after months of ill health. Parties across the spectrum are calling him principled and patriotic.
Many will remember him for the political positions he held, but we should most prominently remember him for his principled positions, even in the face of criticism and humiliation.
He served South Africa with distinction before and after 1994. None could doubt his integrity, commitment, and patriotism. The nation is indebted to this giant of the liberation struggle. Robala ka kgotso Thera.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.